Print, email, Facebook, Twitter. More Ireland's abortion referendum to be very, very tight, with many voters still undecided. Ireland was once considered the most Catholic country in the world, a place where 90% of the population attended Mass, and where divorce, contraception and abortion were forbidden. But in recent years the country has become increasingly secular. In 2015, a referendum passed endorsing same-sex marriage, and another vote this week could liberalize its strict abortion laws. On May 25, Irish voters will decide whether they want to repeal the 8th Amendment of Ireland's constitution, which protects the right to life of the unborn. It means an abortion can only be carried out if the mother's life is at risk, even in cases of rape, child sexual abuse and incest, or where fatal fetal abnormalities are present. A woman can't access a termination. The push for a referendum was sparked in 2012 by the horrific death of Savita Halappanavar. The 31-year-old dentist had a septic miscarriage after being denied an abortion. The Indian-born woman had been told by hospital staff she could not have an abortion because Ireland was a Catholic country. I felt dirty and ashamed. Media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, 5200:52. The abortion debate is deeply personal for many voters. Each year over 3,000 Irish women and girls travel to the UK to get a termination. Lucy Watmuff was single and on the pill when she fell pregnant in 2015. She says she was too young for motherhood and not financially stable enough to provide for a child. I travelled to London by myself. I flew over on an early morning flight. I couldn't be fully anaesthetised because I had to fly home the same day, so I was awake through the whole procedure, she said. Afterwards all the other girls there went home to their own beds. I went to the train station and I stood on a train for about 40 minutes or an hour, bleeding on the way back to the airport because there were no seats for me to sit on. Then I waited in an airport for hours so I could fly home. I think the stigma was the real problem for me. Aside from the trauma of having to travel, I didn't tell anybody for months afterwards. I felt dirty and I felt ashamed. Ms. Watmuff has been urging friends and family to vote yes. The 8th Amendment does not stop abortion happening in Ireland. It just makes it unsafe. We're just showing a complete lack of compassion and care for our own women, she said. It's the most important thing in the world to me right now that this passes, so that one day when I have a daughter, she won't go through what I went through, that she will grow up in a world, in a country where she has autonomy over her body. They couldn't end my life. Media player, space to play, M to mute, left and right to seek, 00:3400:000:34. The No campaign also has its advocates who will be voting for deeply personal reasons. Gavin Boyne is a first-year philosophy student at Trinity College in Dublin. His mother was just 16 when she fell pregnant. He says he is alive because of the 8th Amendment. 20 years ago, my mother was in England as per the request of my grandparents and she was there to have an abortion, he said. 3 weeks had passed and in those 3 weeks my grandparents were thinking, well, what are we doing here? And the only reason they came to that deliberation was because abortion was illegal in Ireland. What they found was the 8th Amendment, which indiscriminately protects unborn children and gives them the right to life. So, they came to the conclusion that I was a human being, a unique human being with value, and they couldn't end my life. It's estimated that upwards of 100,000 people are alive today because of this amendment. For the 20-year-old, this referendum is not about religion. I'm quite the ardent atheist, actually, Mr. Boyne said. I don't believe in God, for me, and I think even religious people, I look at this as a human rights issue. However, religion continues to play a key role in this campaign. The referendum has become a battleground for conservative Christian groups beyond Ireland. Facebook, Google ban campaign ads. The No campaign was planning an online and social media blitz in the final weeks aided by foreign money and marketing agencies. Those plans were derailed when Facebook banned all foreign campaign advertisements. Google went one step further, banning all domestic and international campaign ads. These decisions, made by two foreign tech giants, could influence the final result. Liz Carolyn from the Transparent Referendum Initiative says this move is likely to advantage the Yes campaign. If you look at the reaction of the two groups, it seems to be that the no side are declaring themselves that it's going to be hurting them more. Ms. Carolyn has been monitoring online campaigning during the referendum, an area where anonymous and undisclosed advertisements can target voters in a way that's not legal in traditional media. She believes Facebook was worried about what was about to unfold in Ireland. I do think with all of the scrutiny happening and with the symbolic nature of this referendum, they kind of felt that they didn't want to have a third example added to the list that people often use of Trump and Brexit. I don't think they necessarily wanted abortion to be a third item added onto that list. This is going to be knife-edge. Despite the blow to the No campaign's advertising plans, many pundits believe the result will be tight. While the Yes campaign has been ahead in the polls, many voters remain undecided. Irish historian Diarmuid Ferriter believes it will be a close-run thing. I think this is going to be knife-edge. It's very difficult to ascertain from the polls exactly how people are thinking. There are an awful lot of undecideds and there seem to be people who are torn in terms of how they might vote, he said. I suspect that because of the delicate nature of this subject and the emotiveness of this subject, there may well be people who are either not being very forthcoming when they are asked how they will vote, or else are perhaps giving answers that ultimately may change. It's very, very difficult to read, and given the long difficult history associated with this issue in Ireland, I think this is going to be very, very tight. Print, email, Facebook, Twitter.